Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Dodger Wheelhouse podcast. I'm joined with my co-host, Harry Lebowski. And it's been a day. This is being recorded immediately after game four. For those of you who know, it was a loss. Those of you who don't know, it was a loss.
It
We're
was
gonna,
it was a rough game for sure.
yeah, a little bit of shock still there. We're gonna cover that later. So we're gonna start with some positivity, right? And then we'll get into the hot takes, the negativity. We're gonna try to keep it nice, but man, I'm a little shook. Yeah, Harry.
I'm shook for sure. I mean, we're gonna try and keep it light here. We like to have a positive spin on the Dodgers because they're our team, but there's some emotions, So
Ooh-wee. Emotions is one way to put it. So let's just start with the NLCS, right? Because last
Mhm.
time we recorded, it was right before Game 6. I want to say,
Mhm.
yeah.
It was 3-2. We just pulled out a clutch winning game 5, and we were kind of. I'm gonna be honest. Like I was looking forward. Wanted a Dodgers win, but I was also kind of like trying to come to terms in my head with like the Dodgers might lose this
I
series.
lied to y'all. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I said I was seeing Dodgers in 7. Man, yeah, bold faced liar.
You said
Because
you said Braves in 6 or Dodgers in 7.
oh, okay, no,
Yeah.
I'm cool with that take because yeah, going into Game 7, I actually did have that vibe that like we got to Game 7, we've got it.
hmm
But definitely eking out 2 wins in a row really seemed like a tough
Yeah.
bargain.
It again, especially against the Braves defense and pitching staff who had shut us down, and a hot offense and Freddie Freeman, Marcell Ozuna, Ronald Acuna Jr.
And hey,
And, yeah.
what shuts down a hot offense? Cool catches. So we've actually got quite a few for you.
that was smooth. That was a smooth
That was
transition.
smooth. I
That
thought it
was
was
real
terrible.
smooth.
All right. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna pull up Mookie Betts' just absurd defense. Let's pull that up. Mookie's been awesome, right? Definitely worth $400 million.
Absolutely stellar.
So we're gonna run this clip right now. So we've got this first one. Swanson's up, Mookie coming in, just beautiful
Oh.
on the run.
When
You
I
know, great
first
throw.
saw that play in real time, I thought it hit the ground.
Oh yeah,
And I
me
was
too.
like, damn.
I was
I
like,
was
he made a
just
good play.
uh-huh.
He made a good play, but I certainly wasn't thinking, anything amazing. So in this next clip, and you've got Ozuna, and he can hit, back
Yeah.
moving and just
Back
woo
at
that
the
catch.
wall. Woo!
See, I thought Joe Buck's overused thing. I thought that was gone. They would have been gone rather when I first saw it. Clearly
Yeah.
isn't. So everyone was like, why does everyone care so much? It's not even a home run, Rob. It's just a very good catch.
Oh,
Which I
darn, a
mean,
very good catch.
wow, oh no. But
Oof, they
here
got
you
us
want
there.
him robbing a home run? Fine. Here's him robbing a
Game
home run.
7.
Game 7. This could have been the series because 4-2.
Oh,
Dodgers
I
end up winning that
screamed.
game 4-3.
Uh-huh.
So that's huge. That's
Massive.
big. Like Game 7 heroics. Those are the things you live
Perfectly
for.
timed. And I don't know if y'all saw it. It looked like he got a late read on that too.
Oh, he
Like
did.
he lost it in the ceiling or something.
Oh yeah.
And he still like
Roof was
knew how
closed
to
there,
time
I'm
that
pretty
jump. Yeah.
sure. Then here, this is from tonight, actually. Just
Yeah.
wow. Hey, he's what,
Just
5'8", 5'9". If
the
Mookie's
athleticism.
6'2", we're looking at this like, oh yeah, Mookie made a catch. But no, I mean, when you're 5'8", 5'9", like running back, reading those hops, that's great. And that's not a dig, at Mookie's height. Like Mookie's amazing. It's where he gets his speed.
Mhm.
But it's obviously easier to catch a ball over your head the taller you are, because it's got to be a little bit higher to get over your head. So,
That's not such a big play if you're taller. That's
yeah.
just you take a couple of steps back and catch a line drive. The athleticism, Mookie was turned around in that last catch specifically, and the athleticism to like know his positioning and kind of like contort his body to make that catch is impressive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And for those who've played baseball, it's not easy to switch over your shoulder
Mhm.
when you're moving. I was never good at it. It had to be beat into me, not literally, but metaphorically beat into me. I did quite a few push-ups because you're moving. You're on the move. You're switching. You don't want to lose the ball as you turn over your shoulder. It's not easy. Like I
Yeah.
cannot stress that it is not easy.
I mean, tracking the ball in the outfield as well, because I mean, most of the time you have to cover long distances and get an angle on the ball, cut the ball off,
Oh yeah,
and sometimes make a catch. But just to be able to, like in spite of like him moving, which you lose the ball and the ball is traveling, that ball was smoked. It was probably hit over
105
100,
easy, 105
yeah.
easy. I'm
So
pretty sure
like,
Statcast registered that as a hard hit ball, and for him to do that, it has to be 105 plus,
mhm.
or it might be 95 plus. It's something five. I
I think
really
it's
want to say
95
100.
plus.
You want to say 95?
I think it's 95 plus.
Let's go with 95.
Uh,
But either way, hard hit ball. That is
Yeah,
not up for
and
debate.
that means, I mean, losing it for a couple seconds is hundreds of feet. So like for him to track it even when he's not looking at it is impressive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mookie's been great. He's been a lightning, and he hasn't been like amazing batting average wise, right? This World Series, but who cares, right? I mean, I don't care if you hit 100 if you get hits when they matter. And he's still walking, so it's not like he's not getting on base, right? But if you get hits when they matter, if you make good defensive plays, I'm cool with that. I don't need you hitting 800, right, in the postseason.
Right.
We shouldn't need that from a player. We don't want to ask that of a player. It's unnecessary.
And you made a comment earlier tonight. We were talking during the game, and you made a comment that like this might be the best Dodgers team ever. It does seem like there's a new Dodgers stepping up and getting those extra hits every night. It doesn't always rely on Mookie, which is what I love about this team. Like there are guys literally throughout the lineup that can and will get a hit in clutch situations.
Yeah, I mean, they said they pulled up on the broadcast actually 11 different players and the Dodgers have a home run, right? Tied for most all time. And that's not even with AJ Pollock, who was not a huge free agent signing, but still a free agent signing, who we expected to get it back from. So, I mean, he could conceivably get one in the next, two, hopefully only two Dodger win games, right? Hey, then there's the record, and it's next man up, right? Just next man up. We just want the next guy. It's not that big of a deal, right? Like we don't need Mookie to go, 100 hits, right, in the postseason. Now, if he did, that'd be like the coolest thing ever. But you just need him to get on base, right? Which Max Muncy, we got him at the 4 slot. He's not really hitting, right? He's getting on base. That's all you want. Get on base. You're fast. Steal a base. Steal a taco, right?
Steal a base. Steal a taco.
You got to, right? And yeah, that's all we want from him. I think is to get on base. Hot defense, which defense we got to get into later.
Yeah.
But, Mookie's been good. So, yeah, that's what you want. Bellinger, I don't think we could have used him in center field. Like, I don't recall.
I don't think anything really happened in center field this game that was like, I don't think that there's anything that really like would have been impacted differently if Bellinger was out there.
You know what?
Versus...
Okay, let's just say, I don't think this actually happens, but let's say Bellinger's in center. Will Smith DHs, Barnesy catches, and then maybe the final play doesn't happen.
Debatably, I suppose.
We'll get into that later. I'll try to remember what I said to make it clearer. But the point is, Mookie Betts has been great. Bellinger too. Lord, all those catches. If they win the World Series, what I'm planning on doing is running a clip show for y'all of all the wild clips throughout the season. So let's say they win, maybe even if they don't, depending on how I feel. Say they win, there are some Bellinger highlights you got to see. That's what
absolutely.
Watch them now.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, honestly, just watching Bellinger highlights in general is just fun. I mean, watching him play, especially last season, was a lot of fun to see. And unfortunately, we didn't make as deep a playoff run as we wanted last year. It would have been fun to see him in the playoffs shaping up against the Cardinals had a good looking squad for the most
come
part.
on, they got swept.
I mean, in the CS, I mean, they put up 10 on the Braves in Game 5.
Well, we put up 10 on the Braves.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I got you there. But no, okay. So admittedly, I think if we get through last year, that disaster of a Game 5, I can see us winning it, right? Obviously, I'm a homer. I do think we get through the Cardinals. Now, I got to say the Nats pitching, though, was huge in the World Series, but also our bats were better. So I don't really know how that plays out. It's neither here nor there. Let's focus on this year. So that being said, we actually do have some graphs. Let's run. So first, I was talking with my mother, right? She was complaining about how the Dodgers were letting guys get, late in the count, right? And she was complaining more so that the first pitch to her always seemed to be a ball. So we actually did run those numbers from game 4, just to see, first pitch strike and first pitch ball at bats outcomes, was there any variance and did it really matter? So Harry, you compiled the numbers. Do you want to go through this? Or want me to take it?
I can go through it. So basically we had 6 different pitchers throw tonight. And what I ended up doing with Alistair's help is I went through every at bat and I took into account what the first pitch was, ball or strike, and what the outcome was. So Urias when he had thrown a strike first pitch, it happened with 14 different batters, and resulted in 3 hits, 2 RBIs, 8 strikeouts, and 2 homers. And when it was first pitch ball,
no walks.
No walks. Sorry, no walks.
So once he got ahead in the count, he wasn't giving you 4 balls in a row.
Exactly. He was really good at staying in the zone once he established it. When it was first pitch ball, however, he had 7 total at bats with that, resulting in 1 hit, 1 RBI, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and a home run. So when he did throw a first pitch ball, he had a much more difficult time. I mean, he didn't give up any hits, but he did give up 2 walks. So
he had 1 hit, the home run. The home run's the 1 hit.
Yeah, right. He gave up a hit and an RBI, which was a home run. But he definitely was more likely to walk you. Although in his outing tonight, he only had 2 walks, which is fantastic. I'd like to point out Urias had a great night.
It's definitely what we wanted from him. We obviously squandered it. I didn't expect to win this game. Urias has been good, but he hasn't been like 8 innings good. He's been like 4 or 5 innings good.
Right.
So it was bullpen v. bullpen. Their bullpen is better. It's not why we lost. Again, we will get into that. Man, this just feels like, when we're preluding an Astros episode about cheating, we always say we'll get into that. I do want to say the reason I keep pushing off the Astros episode is I want to have a deep dive and really pull up some hard facts, hard evidence. It's been not like it hasn't been done, but our personal take, what we've noticed, etc. If you want, like a primer, John Boy on YouTube and Foolish Baseball both have videos on it. So you can look at those. We'll have our own, clips and whatnot. So anyway, that's just to say that is to come. Now, Absolutely. As far as the Dodgers in general with first pitch strike, first pitch ball, it hasn't been terrible.
Yeah. I feel like, we can go in depth on the individual stats of Trinan, Baez, Clark, Gradwell, and Jansen, but we're going to skip to the totals because ultimately that's what matters. In total, when the Dodgers pitching staff had thrown a first pitch strike, it happened 23 times. It resulted in 5 hits, 3 RBIs, 12 strikeouts, and 3 homers. And that's about a 217, 0 walks. Yep. Sorry, 0 walks. That's about a 217 average, which is, average, but I'm really looking at the no walks there because that is fantastic.
12 Ks is pretty sweet.
That too,
right?
Yeah.
That shows that you're at least, you're getting high strikeout numbers. Now, again, 3 home runs is ugly. It's really, really ugly. I think one of Baez's home runs was there. I don't remember which one it was, but I know the home run with Trinan's left on base dudes, that was bad.
Yeah, that was off a ball. But then when it was first pitch ball, it happened 18 times, and it resulted in 4 hits, 5 RBIs, 5 walks, 3 Ks, and 2 home runs, which is a 222 average. So it's not that much higher, but the walk rate is up, which means there are more people on base and more RBIs. And, it happened almost as often.
Yeah, it's interesting. To look at the numbers, right? Just to look at, 222 average versus 217 for the strikes, you'd think, oh yeah, ball doesn't really affect. It doesn't affect if they get a hit, but the walk rate is big.
Yeah, 5-0 if it's a first pitch ball or first pitch strike, which just means that we really have to do a better job at reestablishing ourselves in the zone. I feel like once we miss it, it kind of seems like we're out of it.
Yeah,
according to these numbers at least. And of course, I feel like we should mention that this Dodger team is really good. We are just nitpicking at this point.
Yeah, no, it's a good team. The issue is baseball is, I mean, I'm sure I'm missing something like Mongolian horse racing, but I'd venture to say baseball is the sport with the highest variance,
Yeah,
barring,
absolutely.
some sport that I haven't heard of. I swear if someone can prove to me that hockey's higher variance, I'm going to be really annoyed. But because, I just called out Mongolian horse racing. But so the reason being is that, in baseball, your number one player doesn't matter. And now that's a weird thing to say after we just talked about Mookie for like 5 minutes. But so your number one player, let's talk Mike Trout. Best player in baseball. I think you can make a solid argument. Actually, I don't even think there is an argument for anyone else personally, for him being the best player ever. Right. And now someone's going to say eventually, like, Matt, what about Babe Ruth? What about Ted Williams? I don't really count pre-integration numbers all that heavily. And as far as Ted Williams specifically, great hitter for his time. I'm a big believer in the evolution of sport, which is in short, right, that sport, any athlete with nutrition and training gets better over time. And like those guys from like now blow dudes from back then at the park. A good thing to look at is, how many guys are throwing 100 now versus say 10 years ago. It's staggering. And now those same people always say, well, Mac, again, Ted Williams with proper nutrition and training. You can't just make up this fictional Ted Williams with training. Right.
It's important to, like, when you're looking at different eras of baseball, it's important to know that, like, yeah, sure, let's say that baseball statistically just like every player gets better, right? You have to keep in mind that like they were good in their era and they should stay in their era, because once you take them and you put them in a new era with new variables, they might have been terrible according to their numbers.
We don't know if Ted Williams, again, let's just use him. I'm not picking on Ted Williams. I guess I am. I don't intend to pick on Ted
literally
Williams.
picking on Ted Williams.
Let's say, you bring Ted Williams as a baby into the modern age and give him training. Maybe his eyes were just never good enough to hit 100, right? Like he was amazing hitting lower velocities, but at 100, he can't cut it. Right. So that's not a training thing. That's at some point you've hit your limit thing, right? It's the same thing in boxing, just not to go too deep into it. We look at Muhammad Ali, who's considered by many to be the greatest. I'm speaking really quickly. Muhammad Ali is considered by many to be the greatest. He was, I want to say 6'3", right, as a heavyweight, whereas heavyweights now, the big three being Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, and Deontay Wilder, they're all 6'6" plus, right? So you're looking at Ali and you're thinking, wow, like he's tiny compared to these dudes. That's the evolution of sport. So the larger point being, these Dodgers are insane, right? I think you could venture to say they're the best team of all time. And that's because they have a well-oiled machine. Guys are meshing. Going back to the Mike Trout point, right? Calling Mike Trout the best player of all time is on the Angels. The Angels have been garbage for Mike Trout's time in Southern California, in Anaheim, not Los Angeles, Anaheim. It was Mike.
They were the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
No, they cut that out. I'm pretty sure it's just the Los Angeles Angels.
Oh, okay. Well, they're in Anaheim.
Yeah,
I've been to their stadium.
I have not. I've been meaning to. I'm doing the whole like go to every stadium thing, and then coronavirus happens. Now I'm sitting in Scottsdale. So that being said, with Mike Trout, right? He has, I think, one postseason series and like maybe one hit total, and he's the best player. And you couldn't possibly make an argument that, say, a basketball team with LeBron or Jordan or Wilt, depending on who you consider the GOAT. You can't tell me you put one of those guys on the worst team ever assembled in basketball, and they don't come close to squeaking out the postseason in, 5-6 years? There's no way. And it's not like the Angels have bad players. Like the Angels have spent money on Anthony Rendon, Shohei Ohtani, right? Albert Pujols. So that was widely regarded as a mistake and still is. They're spending money. Not on pitchers, but they're spending money. Point being, Mike Trout is the best, right? And all he can really do on a given day. Like I brought this up to Harry earlier, but let's say you have literally the best player conceivable, right? Let's say he's hitting 500 and every one of those hits is a home run, right? So cool. you're only seeing him 1 out of every 9 at bats, and half of those at bats are outs, right? So 1 in every 18 at bats is hitting a home run. That's insane. But okay, cool. So your team is getting 1 home run every 18 at bats, and then now you're sitting around with a bunch of presumably awful players. If we're going by the same comparison with the basketball argument, like I don't see a world in which Gretzky doesn't make it to the postseason, right? On any hockey team, you know. But I'm not going to say you could just like throw out a bunch of peewee hockey players and win Gretzky. No, but if you took a bunch of decent players,
that would be a sight.
Like maybe Olympians, right? And Gretzky, I think you sniffed the postseason a year or 2, right? 3. And then if you spend money the way the Angels have spent money, like that's a team. So point being, again, like Dodgers aren't getting, like absurd numbers out of Mookie Betts, but they're getting numbers out of Mookie Betts, and they don't need to get absurd numbers out of Mookie Betts. That's the point, right? Is that you have Betts, Bellinger, they don't have to be absurd, right? I mean, Seager has been. I don't think we're here without Seager. But you can have 2 guys who are you're expecting to play at close to an MVP level, maybe not playing there, and it's fine because next man up, right? It's baseball,
right.
And man, like it's wild, right? As we're going to talk about later. So another thing we pulled from, let's pull Turner up first before we get into more of Game 4. Okay. So Justin Turner, in this World Series has been great, right? Ludicrous. For the Dodgers. He not back to back. So he had 2 games in a row, a home run in the first inning. Back to back doesn't quite work there, right? But Turner's looking good. So let's pull this up right now. Turner, his 2 home runs, and let's run this clip. So Turner here first, just gone, right? That's
gone
just
to shadow zone.
Yeah,
just
that
get out
off the bat. That one's gone, right? Morton was looking good, I guess initially, not so much at the end of the game. But I was expecting a good outing from Morton. Right. I didn't expect him to
as was
win.
Everyone.
I expected the Dodgers to win because Dodgers have been like okay against Morton, and then so now you have Yarbrough, and that one I really didn't think was going to carry.
I just thought it was I thought it was a fly out, and then it just kept going, and then it went.
Kiermaier sold it for sure. Like if there's I guess it doesn't matter if there was a runner, but if for whatever reason, you'd need a runner, that runner would be deked because he sold that really well.
Yes.
But yeah, no, there's only so much you can expect from Turner, but wow. Right, I don't want to say I expect Justin Turner to be the best player ever, but hey, get another one tomorrow. Right, give me another first inning home run.
I don't mind.
I don't think we're going to throw to him. But okay, so now
I wouldn't doubt it.
Let's get that out of the way. Let's dive into Game 4.
Okay.
Oh man. So another thing we noticed during this game is sort of how the Dodgers had been playing and leaving runners on base, which is not necessarily terrible, just simply in the sense that. Let's say you have bases loaded, 2 outs. You hit a double, right? 3 runs score, then the next guy strikes out. You've left a runner on base. Obviously, it's still a productive, inning, right? That's 3 runs, but it's runner left on base. That being said, it's inefficient by definition, right? Just to leave runners on, it just shows you're not hitting as many home runs as I guess you could. It's sort of weird to look into this, right? But Game 1, Dodgers scored 8 runs, left 9 runners on base, right? Rays, scored 3 runs, left 3 runners on base. The Rays offense, you're going to see throughout this little chart, a lot more efficient. Game 2, Dodgers, left 5 on, scored 4. Rays left 7 on, scored 6. That's close efficiency-wise. Game 3, Dodgers left 8 on, scored 6. Rays left 2 on, scored 2. Way more efficient.
Yeah.
Right. Game 4, Dodgers left 10 on base. That was really rough. Scored
that
7
stings,
runs.
especially after a loss.
Yeah, after a loss, that's what you have to look at and say, wow. They've literally, in every game, 5 or more runners have been left on base. In 3 games, 8 or more runners have been left on base.
In every game, there were more left on base than we scored.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ugly. Now, the Rays are the only team, well, and when I say only teams, only two teams, but the Rays in one game have only had fewer left on base than runs scored. That was game 4. Now, granted, the game should have ended with a runner on. I guess Rosario would have been out, so it should have ended with a runner on second. But even then, it doesn't cut it. Oh Lord, I really don't want to talk about Game 4. I mean, it's been like 2 hours, right? It still feels ugly.
It's rough. It
Yeah.
stings. It really does.
But
But
about
I mean,
you can go. Yeah,
it off and
it's bad. It feels ugly.
Yeah.
About the left on base numbers. I'm not going to point at this and say this is why Dodgers are losing. I think this can be it's a bullpen series, right? I think if we can get a win through Kershaw, which people say playoff Kershaw. That's a stupid narrative. It's really dumb. I'm not going to say so. Kershaw has definitely been a tale of like good outings and bad outings in the postseason. Like, and when it's bad, it's like really bad. The thing is
polarizing for sure.
Yeah, what people look at, right, primarily is in 2017, Game 5, right? Kershaw lost, gave up a bunch of runs. Now we know they were cheating the whole time. Like Clayton Kershaw has, in my opinion, this isn't a homer opinion. It's just like straight up the best curveball ever, right? There are other people you could look at, but I think like all-time curveballs, I'm taking Kershaw. Now that being said, I think he threw 50 and they only swung at 1 or they swung and missed at 1. It's a disgusting number. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mental note. I'm actually going to put the exact statistic on right now. So you're going to see it, right? Where Kershaw was. It was 50 something. It was up there. They're not swinging and missing. They're just sitting off speed, cheating, bang, bang, right? Again, we'll have a full episode on this. Point being, playoff Kershaw, it's a stupid narrative, right? I'm not going to say he's great. Like, I'm not, going to want to pitch Kershaw every game, right? Like I would Scherzer. I'd throw Scherzer every game. I'd throw Buehler every game if I could, right? Throw the arm off. But so the thing with Kershaw is Kershaw goes from an elite, like show-stopping, disgusting pitcher in the regular season to just a very good pitcher in the postseason is I think what it is. And it's like, oh, he choked because he's not the ridiculous demigod we're used to. Yeah, I guess. Right. I think you could easily make the argument that if LeBron put up like pedestrian numbers, right, in a playoff game, you'd be like, this was a choke job by LeBron if they lost, maybe. But I don't see that narrative really with any other athlete. But, hey, not to say it's not deserved, right, at least a flack. But this is why this particular ring is so important, because I think with this ring, with Demons exercised, I think the narrative gets a lot softer, because then it goes from he could never win into the playoffs to he had trouble winning in the playoffs. And if they repeat, it goes from he put it together.
I also want to say that Kershaw is a pitcher who, I mean, he has a fantastic curveball. His slider is also really good. He relies on his off-speed pitches because he kind of throws fastballs in the lower 90s, right? And especially in an era where like
post-injury.
Especially post-injury. So, in an era where fastballs are reaching 100, right? How does he stand out? He just perfects his curveball. I mean, his curveball was really good, right, before his back injury. I feel like it's come back and it's just as good or better. It's just it just never. I never like.
We should run those numbers.
The curveball.
We should look at that.
Every time he throws his curveball, I just like my jaw drops because like I just like how can it get nastier than it has?
The vertical movement is quite beautiful. I will say, the vertical movement is quite beautiful. So, okay, now let's move on to just Game 4 in general. I don't want to talk about the clip yet. I don't want to talk about it. I don't.
We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait.
Not too long because there's gonna be a lot of conversation about that clip. But I want to say when I say they're gonna say, "Oh, you're just coping with the loss." I didn't expect to win, right? I expected a close game. If we win, we win, right? But their bullpen is – I told Harry this during the game, but their bullpen is better, but I don't think they're 2 runs better. They're 1 run better. What I mean by that is I think their bullpen is better than ours for sure, but I don't think their bullpen is, let's say 2 runs better. Like if the Dodgers come into a game with, say, a 6-4 lead, right? I could easily see the game, sorry, not come to the game. If the Dodgers, if both teams go into the bullpens with a 6-4 Dodger lead, I could conceivably see the Rays, coming back and maybe winning. But I definitely don't see it happening with the 7-4 lead, right? Like I can definitely see the Dodgers bullpen holding them to, maybe 1 or 2 runs catching up, right? Which is like jumping out on the Rays pitching is huge because their bullpen's great. But I don't see the Rays coming back, like if it's 8-4, right? If it's 8-5, 8-6, I can see it. 8-7, obviously, right? But not. That's why I say maybe 2 runs better. Maybe not. It's iffy.
The reason we brought up the left on base stat is because we're trying to show, like, yeah, it's important for the Dodgers to jump on Rays pitching, and leaving these runners on base is opportunities that we could have scored. We could have gotten that extra run. And yes, it stings because we lost by 1. And quite frankly, I was annoyed and kind of still am annoyed about it. But it's kind of just like, we gotta, like, that's why. It's not why we lost. It's not why the series is tied, right? But in this particular game, it played a big part. Leaving 10 runners, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot there, right?
Yeah, 10 runners. 10 runners. That's a lot. That's a big number. Like, I really am just gonna let that sink into my monkey brain for a second. Wow, 10 runners, right? You know what? I hate to do this to you, Harry. I do think we're gonna have to pull up the catastrophe. Isn't it called Game 9 Catastrophe? Isn't that
Bottom 9 disaster?
Bottom 9 disaster.
is what the clip is called.
So let's pull up the Bottom 9 disaster. And I gotta say before we do, this is sort of the thing where Dodgers win the series. You look back and you go, ha ha ha, wow, crazy play. Who could have thunk it? Dodgers lose. It's like your eyes are burning like a hole in the back of your own skull. You don't want to think about it. It's bad. It's like, if the Braves had won the series, they could definitely look back at that 11-run game. They could look back at that base running gaffe. And they could say, oh, haha, we screwed up, but we beat the Dodgers.
We made it.
And hooray, right? Atlanta makes the World Series. But they didn't. And so now they're going to be sitting there for the offseason and thinking, oh my God, we really just should we pull this clip up? The Rays, the Braves Dodgers, the base running gaffe?
I think that we could put that in. I mean, basically, what ends up happening is the Braves miss out on having a runner on
second and third. I want to say, right?
Well, okay, so it was.
It would have
runners on second and third.
Yeah,
and Corey Seager fields a hard ground ball, throws it home, or maybe it was Justin Turner. It was one of the two. And
Seager fields
one of the runners in a rundown.
Mm-hmm.
Turner throws it home, and then there's a rundown home to third, right? Turner tags the runner on third and turns around and flips it to Seager, who tags the runner out, sliding into third. So it was a double play, and you literally see
ugly base running.
Yeah, he's running, the runner on second's running to third, and then he just stops and turns around,
goes back a little bit, stops,
yeah.
Looks. So Turner makes the tag. Turner makes the tag on the runner running home, and then immediately turns around and gets the dude who, the biggest rule in baseball is you don't hesitate, right? Like if you're gonna go, you go, right? When you base run, like that's number one. If you're base running and you go, you're going. Now, obviously, you can turn around, but you got to go back. You can't, pickle it. What we're gonna do, we'll pull this clip up for y'all. We'll run that. We'll see how close Harry was on his memory. test there, but we'll run that back. So let's move on from there, and let's talk about Game 4. So.
Right. Bottom 9 disaster. Are we finally going to play the clip?
Bottom 9 disaster. I'm hesitant. I'm scared. My monkey brain is screaming no. I'm gonna take a cautionary sip of my my ginger beer because it's worrying. It's really worrying. Man. Okay, so let's set the stage. Bottom 9th, 2 outs. 2 strikes on the hitter. I want to say 1-2 count.
1-2 count.
Man, I hate talking about this. Like, the more I say this, bottom 9th, runners on first and second, 2 outs, 2 strikes, I'm thinking, wow, okay, that's game.
Especially with Jansen on the mound, who had been looking good.
That inning, yeah. You see what we're going through for y'all? That's love. That's love.
That's love. That's quality content.
Yeah. They give us a like and a subscribe and what all the children say on YouTube. Then we're probably younger than everyone says that, but whatever. Okay, so let's. Okay, clips pulled up.
Play the clip.
Let's run it. Okay, so Phillips, I didn't have a hit in the postseason, right? It just ekes one out. Okay, game's tied. That's fine. Right, Arozarena started on first, and boom. There's a gaff. Throw comes in, relay's good. Smith it goes out of his glove. And Arozarena, looks around and just dives on home plate. It's so ugly. It's so ugly. And I can't stand to watch this. Like, dude's moving, and you can literally see the moment where he's just like, they're just staring at it, and then wow, game. Right. So if you watch Arozarena, he's moving, right? But he still started on first. He's rounding, cool, but then he fumbles, he falls, right, and the throw's already in. He's out by a mile, but Smith applies the text. Doesn't know where the runner is. Called lack of communication, I guess. But honestly, you're not really yelling that, at least in my experience. Catching,
yeah, that's not.
I'm just expecting he didn't get his hand in to save the ball. Is really what happened there. Realistically, I feel like you have Arozarena on third. Like, he gets back, or maybe he's just out by a mile. Who knows? But that is not what you expect. And Chris Taylor just bobbles it there. But I actually don't think Chris Taylor's even remotely to blame.
I think that the relay made up for the bobble.
Yeah, like Muncie's relay was beautiful.
What really just happened
right here, just out of the glove, off the ump's leg, and then game. Yeah. Right. This is, I guess, a better angle where you have Taylor coming in. He makes the throw. Muncie's relay is perfect. He's on the move. That's exactly what you want. Then right there, ball should be in Smith's glove. It's out.
Yeah.
And that's game.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
I was shocked. That's not going to feel good in the clubhouse after. I mean, I'm sure they're all disappointed because they had it. They were right there. That was the last out. That was extra innings.
Oh man! The fact that I'm not going to fault Smith.
No,
right?
No one. I'm not going to blame anyone.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't blame anyone. So what I was saying, a second ago, for those of you who aren't as familiar with playing baseball so much as watching it, they always tell you as a catcher is when you're applying the tag, you get your hand right with the glove to kind of keep the ball in, because a lot of times it's not for that particular. I mean, obviously that happens, but it's more so that let's say you get a tag on a dude's feet, he could kick the ball out of the glove and that's safe. So if Smith gets that hand in there, we tie up the game. Yeah, we might even still lose.
Yeah, the game's tied and it goes into extras, and then it's just a longer game.
Or it doesn't go into extras though, because we don't know if Arozarena gets out there.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. He's probably out. Let's just say he's out extra innings, and then we see what happens. The Rays bullpen had been kind of hurt. Maybe Dodgers eke out a win, but man, that just feels gross. I don't want to go to sleep on this win, and I'm not Will Smith.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
It just ended. It was bitter, and especially after we've been playing such good baseball these past 3 games. I mean, even in the loss, we played solid baseball overall, I think.
Oh, you mean the first loss?
Yeah. Game 2.
Because game 4, I think any game where you let the Rays score that many runs is a bad game.
It was a bullpen game. I mean, we definitely were
3-run home runs, though. That shouldn't happen.
I mean, there were several home runs tonight. There were several. And
in the grill.
Yeah.
In the grill. Sorry,
Yeah,
I should
the grill.
explain. So Globe Life Park is the Texas Rangers home stadium. It's in Arlington. They just got rid of their old field. This one has a roof, which is nice. It's retractable and it's very pretty on the inside, but the outside it legitimately looks like a Home Depot grill. Like, I really feel that they hired a designer, and dude was, looking for inspiration, stumbled upon, a nice deal of charcoal at, Home Depot. Then next to that deal, it said, hey, you buy a new grill, we'll give you 5 bags free. He's like, oh, let me go look at the grills. So he goes, he walks over to the grills, and boom, there's this beautiful silver grill. It's got, it doesn't open up. It opens to the side. It's really pretty.
It says Globe Life Park on it.
Maybe Hank Hill was pitching it to him. The Char King Royale or some equally ridiculous name for a grill. And he said, boss, we've got it. This is the park. And his boss is a huge fan of, lightly grilled meats. He's a really big steak guy. And he says, okay, let's do it. Either that or everyone in the front office is a vegan. They had never considered grilling before, so it did not occur to them that this looked like a grill. Because
I think the first one is actually a true story.
Yeah, I think so.
I was there. True story.
I was there.
He was the one who told them about the deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what Mac was doing.
Or let's just say maybe, you have a big grill magnate who says, "Hey Rangers, you model your ballpark to look like my grill. I'll pay the taxes on it." Best marketing campaign of all time. They had already sold the name. He wanted to name the stadium the Grill Master Stadium, but Globe Life had already bought it.
Mm.
So, he was like, yeah, we'll just design it like a grill. And it's funny because Globe Life Stadium, if they had made it like a traditional domed roof, that would have been perfect. This just occurred to me.
Globe Life.
Yeah, and they just fumbled the bag entirely.
All right, Globe Life Stadium. What shape is it going to be? Grill.
Like a strange looking hexagon type structure with a slider roof. We're getting so off topic. Point is, this game was ugly. The series is tied 2-2, which, looking at it, hey, all that means is, let's pretend Dodgers and Rays are in they're both in the NL, and in this World Series run, maybe for some reason they get matched up in the first round, the wild card, because this is literally what the wild card was. It was a best of 3 series, which is where we're at now. Everything's even. We're going into a best of 3. Mm-hmm. Now that's where it gets scary. Now, if you told me in that best of 3, we had Clayton Kershaw throwing game 1 and Walker Buehler throwing a necessary game 3, I would think, wow, I like our chances. Mm-hmm. Provided Kershaw gets the win. Kershaw getting a win tomorrow is pivotal for the Dodgers World Series hopes. And if Kershaw gets a win, then there's a day of rest and then 2 more games, which means you could see, Kershaw coming in game 7 of the World Series. And then you're thinking, Alistair, why? Oh my God, it's playoff Kershaw. Well, Kershaw was incredible game 7 of the 2017 World Series. So if I'm going to go off that, I'm going to say, yeah, I do want Kershaw there. If you told me we could throw, Kershaw then into Buehler and then Gratterall to close if necessary, boom, that's a lock.
I would also like to point out that Kershaw did fantastic in game 1 of this World Series. He had a very nice start. Definitely put all of the playoff Kershaw people to shame because he came out and he showed out.
Oh, he looked good. It was nasty. Cool. Now, again, the reason I brought up game 7, though, specifically is because it would probably be a relief Kershaw appearance, right? That's the one thing. Although I suppose, it would be a relief Kershaw. It would.
It would definitely. I don't think that they would start throwing Kershaw because that just doesn't sound like especially because Buehler is so good. He's so good.
It's very much Giants World Series when Mad Bum coming out of the pen energy.
Yeah.
Lord, I'm scared. Yeah, I'm queasy about this. I'm still rooting for the Dodgers, and the hype trolley is sort of still tentative.
Tentative. The hype trolley is tentatively rolling.
The hype trolley has not stopped, but they're running. They're not running out of coal. They're conserving.
They're slowing
coal.
down a bit.
They're slowing down a bit. Picked up a couple more passengers. The conductor is sweating. They've been working on the railroad all the live long day. It's been rough, but man, it's tied 2-2, right? That's big. And I'm a little concerned, but I'm optimistic. I think Kershaw gets the win tomorrow. I feel that, and I hope so, because I don't, if Kershaw loses or we lose, fine. I can easily see us winning one bullpen game and a Buehler start. Fine, right? My issue, though, is a pretty stupid one, is that I hate breaks after a loss. So when they lost game 2 and there was a 1-day break, I was just sitting around in the car ride to Arizona, man, we lost. I don't want that. I'd like a win, obviously, but just for that particular reason, I'd like a win, right? At least one, well, not at least one. I don't know what I'm saying. I want to win tomorrow. Feel good. Have a nice day of rest, and then maybe give May an actual start, right? May actually throw.
I think that May and Gonsolin have both been on a shorter leash because they haven't been as untouchable as they were in the regular season.
But they're not being allowed to.
But exactly. So they're definitely, I feel like they would both like some breathing room in terms of they want to be able to throw a few innings. They want to be able to give up a few hits and figure it out themselves. And, some in playoff baseball, it's hard to be able to let your guys do their thing, because there's not enough time, playoff baseball is crucial. Every inning, every at bat is crucial. So, usually giving up a home run here and there, during a regular season start, where it doesn't really, but in the postseason, it's kind of
oh my God, we gave up a home run. Yeah. I think where I'm at, right? If I'm Alistair Roberts, Mac Roberts actually does sound like a baseball name.
Alistair Roberts.
Mac Roberts sounds like a 1950 baseball. We'll go Mac Roberts. So I'm Mac Roberts, right? Manager of the 2020 Los Angeles Dodgers. What I'm doing, front office be damned. I'm ignoring them, right? Don't hire me. What I'm doing is, screw the analytics. If Kershaw wins, then I'm throwing an opener. I'm throwing Joe Kelly. Letting him, I said it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm throwing Joe Kelly. I think
hot takes.
No. He's a fireballer, right? So I'm letting Joe Kelly throw the first inning because I don't think Arozarena is going to have as much fun dealing with Kelly. If not Kelly, I wouldn't waste Gratterall. I like Gonzalez, so I'm not going to use either of them. Give me maybe Trinan. Right? Use a high leverage guy, then keep other high leverage guys. Let him go 1, maybe 2 if he's really hot. Then I'm throwing May for 5 innings.
All right, you want a long reliever in the middle. All
yeah,
right.
That's what I want. Well, not even a long reliever,
Mac
a
Roberts.
starter with an opener, right?
Yeah.
If anything. I don't know how does that compare to your, let's say Kershaw wins tomorrow.
If Kershaw wins, I like splitting up May and Gonsolin.
Who starts?
May, definitely.
How many innings?
I think I would throw May 3 or 4, and then
short leash or long leash.
I think that I try and let him figure it out. If he gets a couple runners on, then I might start warming up Gonsolin, or I might start warming up maybe Gratterall as a high leverage guy.
What's his run threshold? Is I guess the better question. How many? So just to be clear, we're asking short leash, long leash being, how much rope do you give him before you pull him in and yank him?
How much do you trust your guy to get out of a situation?
Right. And then, secondly being, how many runs do you want him to do? How many runs can you allow him, right? What's his run threshold?
I would allow 2 runs before I start to get concerned and maybe put someone in the bullpen.
Concerned or So you're not even putting anyone in until 2 runs.
When I say concerned, I mean someone's warming up in the bullpen.
Wow, I'm thinking if I'm you, right? If I'm Harry Roberts, I'm thinking Mac Harry Roberts. I'm thinking ridiculous. I'm thinking, maybe 1 run, you start telling your bullpen dudes, then any runner in scoring position after that, then you start warming a guy up.
The reason I say 2 is because he's starting the game, right? Okay. And that there is still an opportunity for the Dodgers to get hits, right? But I'm not saying 2 runs in any given inning. I'm saying 2 runs on the scoreboard.
I figured.
I'm saying, yeah. So I'm saying, if they're obviously, he gives up if they're stringing along a couple hits and runner on second, 1-0 Rays, no outs, obviously telling someone to get hot in the bullpen, right? Mm-hmm. Because Dustin May needs to figure it out, right? But I am going to give him the opportunity to get out of that situation. He is going to have the 2-run threshold. And I think that would help him in terms of his confidence and his ability to throw strikes. And I think that the rookies are going to have to get used to pitching in these situations. They're going to have to. Urias has adapted very nicely. He's not a rookie, but he's definitely come to this season.
He's nothing close to a rookie.
But he's definitely come into the. He's definitely coming into the spotlight on an already very talented, in a very talented Dodgers pen.
Yeah,
and amidst very talented Dodgers starters, and I think that Dustin May has a role as a starter or a long reliever, and he has yet to kind of come
in the future.
Yeah, in the future, starter 100%.
Right now, long reliever.
Yeah, and I think that he should definitely, when he's in the spotlight, he should definitely show his stuff because he is fantastic.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
I see Dustin May and I'm thinking, wow, he's 23. There's team control for a while. He looks great.
Mm-hmm.
I think when Kershaw either retires or, moves on to – I can actually reasonably see – I don't want to speak this into existence. I can see Kershaw not signing with the Dodgers for his twilight years and moving out to Texas, playing with the Rangers for a bit. I can see it. I hate it, but I can see it. So if Kershaw retires or, doesn't extend with the Dodgers, I can see May being our number 2 guy, presuming there's no, obviously big pickup.
Where do you think Urias fits into the rotation? Say Kershaw retires. Buehler obviously becomes our ace.
Yeah, Buehler's our ace. Realistically, I think May has a higher ceiling than Urias. So I'm thinking May.
I would agree with
Urias
that.
3. I don't actually know how I feel about Gonsolin, but I'll say tentatively Gonsolin 4. Obviously, we're assuming we don't have a guy in the minors. The Dodgers always seem to have some guy in the minors who's gonna be ridiculous. So maybe there's just some guy. Maybe there's Bacher Wheeler or whatever. Who's this guy we've never heard of? That's gonna be the next Kershaw. I don't know, but the fact that we've got Buehler looking like an ace, is good. Mm-hmm. And Buehler's humble about it. He was even the other day he was like, "I'm number 2 till the number 1 guy leaves," because Kershaw's earned it, right?
Kershaw is definitely the number 1 guy on the Dodgers.
Man,
rotation.
What a dumb sentence by me. Kershaw's earned it. Duh.
Right? Yeah, obviously.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, hey, I'm liking our chances. If you told me Dodgers have to play a 3-game series against the Rays, I'd be scared, but I'd still pick the Dodgers, so that's how I'm going to treat it. We've still got Kershaw. Hell, maybe we'll pretend game 163, Buehler through. So he's not going to be good till game 3. Let's pretend that's the situation. Right, so Dodgers win a game 163. They play the Rays in a 3-game series, right? 1st to 2, and you tell me Kershaw starting game 1 against Glasnow, right?
Glasnow,
and you say the last time Dodgers played Glasnow, he led in a good number of runs, which was in our real existence or game 2, game 1. Sorry. Then I'm thinking, okay, I'm looking good. Game 1. Game 2, do I think they win the bullpen game? I wouldn't bet on it, personally. I wouldn't bet on baseball. Lord, can I just say real quick, I've had so many people tell me, Alistair, I lost this much money on this bet in baseball. I'm thinking, stop.
Don't bet on baseball.
Don't bet on baseball. Just don't. If you like betting, and you want to just throw your money away, bet on horse racing. It's really fun. It's really fun. They all have cool names that you can pick, like Tropic Thunder or, Marshmallow Boogaloo or some equally ridiculous name, right? And then he'll be running around the track, and then, there's like a jockey, and they're all cool. Like, they seem like really chill dudes. Bet on horse racing. Please stop betting on baseball. It makes me sad, right?
Because baseball has this unknown factor. Like you really don't know what's going to happen most of the time. That's why baseball continues to be interesting.
The variance in baseball is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were like, Alistair, I want to bet on basketball. It's the Magic versus the Heat. I'd be like, okay, cool. You're betting on the Heat. Easy money. They might lose, but you feel relatively good about that.
Right.
But if you're telling me, Alistair, I'm betting on the Avalanche versus the Red Wings, I'd say I know nothing about hockey. But if you told me, Alistair,
That's fair.
I'm betting on the Astros versus the Tigers. The Astros are having a historic season and they're cheating, and the Tigers are terrible. I'd say don't bet on baseball. Like, there's no combination of words that you could string together. Like, you could tell me that the Anaheim Angels. You can tell me that the Angels are playing the St. Mary's Cross recreational senior softball team, and they're playing a best of 7 series. I'd say, well, the Angels pitching hasn't been great. And St. Mary's,
I know nothing about St. Mary's.
St. Mary's has some big bats coming off of the 6 through 9 slots. So don't bet on baseball.
So don't bet on baseball.
I don't think there's a combination of words that you could string together would make me say, wow, bet on that. You could tell me, Alistair, Snoop Dogg is throwing the first pitch, but they're going to put him against an actual batter. The bet is whether or not he records a strike. Do you bet on baseball? No.
Don't bet on baseball.
Don't bet on baseball. That's my slogan. I'm sure someone said it.
I'd also like to point out, even if there was a 99% chance for one team to win, there's still a 1% chance they lose.
Well,
and that happens. Well, yeah, but that just happens a lot. Yeah. It happens all the time. Because sometimes you just have a bad game, or it's just not your day. The balls just aren't falling. Right, everything you barrel up just gets hit right to an outfielder or an infielder or someone, and sometimes you just have those days, right?
Yeah, so let's talk St. Mary's versus the Angels. The Angels are up 163-4, somehow 4 in the 3rd inning, right? And then lo and behold, a catastrophic meteor has landed in Anaheim. Disneyland and the Angels Stadium have been destroyed. St. Mary's in Los Angeles, including the Dodgers, are somehow untouched, and St. Mary's wins by default. Now,
did you bet on that?
You'd say, no. Alistair, I just lost $1 million because it looked like a sure thing. I'd say, well, this is why you don't bet on baseball.
Don't bet on baseball.
Anyway, ridiculous takes aside, let's go to predictions. Got the Dodgers in 7. I think this. I'm saying Kershaw win tomorrow, loss in Game 6, and then win in Game 7. I don't like it. If Kershaw loses, I don't know why I think this, but I think if Kershaw loses, we actually still go to 7 and win. I really think the Dodgers' chances here. I'm not going to discount the Rays. They've clearly shown that they have the ability to overcome adversity. They've also squandered 3 games to the Astros that were super winnable. So going off that, I'm going to say Dodgers in 7. Harry?
I am going to say Dodgers in 7. I mean, you kind of outlined all the points there. There really isn't much else to say. I think that the Rays have a really good team, and they always are described as scrappy and innovative and all that. They found a way to win tonight, and I think that they're probably going to find a way to win one of the next 3. But the Dodgers are just good. They're just better, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna go secondary prediction. I'm just gonna stick my neck out. I think Dodgers put up big runs tomorrow. I think they're pissed after today. I like big runs here. So for that, and that specifically, we're gonna go hype trolley. I like that. I like that right there. I like big runs for the Dodgers. Game 6, I'm saying let's say Game 5 win, Game 6 L, Game 7 win. I don't think Game 7 will be particularly close, but let's say Game 7, if it really goes there, and I don't want it to go there, I want Dodgers at 6, right? If it goes Game 7, I'm seeing a 3-run win, relatively comfortable. Bueller throws a gem.
Mhm.
Right. I'm liking this. I think we're seeing their bullpen guys enough that we can start to, get some better hits off them.
Mhm.
They've seen, this is just, I'm throwing this out there. I have no stats to back this up. I'm pretty sure we've seen more of their bullpen than they have of ours.
I think so.
Feel like our starters have gone longer. So on that,
because I know Glass know how to start cut short, as did Morton.
Yeah.
So I know that, and then I don't know how well Blake Snell did in game 2. I think he pitched 7.
Blake Snell, how well he did, it was incredible. How long he did, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. But yeah, Blake Snell pitched a gem against us in game 2. Yeah. So I think that we have seen more of their bullpen if you kind of add up the numbers.
Yeah.
And we're getting to them. They had been untouchable in the ALDS and the ALCS, but
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll cover that.
I see the Dodgers squeaking out a win. Tomorrow, I think Kershaw throws a gem, but bullpen makes it dicey. We'll see it. Obviously, I'll take a 15-0 win. So, yeah, I think we should sign off here. This has been good. Go Dodgers. We've both had Dodgers in 7. One last time for the road. And, yeah, let's see some Dodger baseball.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Adios.